What if every emotion you suppressed turned into a physical object you had to drag around? Donkey brain wakes up already tired. Not the kind of tired that comes from sleeping late. Not the kind that coffee fixes. This tiredness feels heavier and deeper, like his mind stayed awake even when his body didn't. He sits on the edge of the bed, ears drooping slightly, staring at the floor longer than necessary. Standing up feels like a small negotiation. His shoulders slump forward without permission, as if gravity quietly increased overnight. He takes a step. Something pulls back. Donkey brain pauses and looks over his shoulder. There's nothing there. Yet his movement is slower now, uneven, like he's dragging something just out of sight. He tries to shake it off. Everyone feels slow in the morning, he tells himself. What if every emotion you never processed turned into something you had to carry? Donkey brain walks toward the bathroom mirror. His reflection looks familiar but distorted. Not different, compressed. Like he's folding inward to make space for something invisible. Then it appears. A dull gray suitcase fades into existence behind him, old and heavy, worn at the edges. A tag grief swings gently. Before he can react, another bag appears beside it. Scratched, dent-covered, clearly overused with tag of shame. A third snaps onto his arm, sleek and polished, almost elegant, tagged as expectations. Not even his. Finally, a small pouch hooks around his ankle. It shouldn't weigh much. It looks ridiculous, but it's heavy. That embarrassing thing from years ago. Donkey brain freezes. He lifts his hands slightly, confused. I didn't pack for this, his posture says. This is how emotional weight works. You don't feel it when it arrives. You feel it when normal things start costing more energy than they should. Donkey brain exhales and tries to walk anyway. The suitcases roll behind him. Quietly, patiently, faithfully. He repeats what he always repeats. I'm fine. This is normal. Everyone's tired. The bags follow. They always have. Outside, the city is already awake. People move with purpose. Light steps. Phones in one hand, coffee in the other. They weave through the streets like momentum itself is carrying them forward. Donkey brain steps outside and immediately feels the contrast. Each step requires intention. His hooves land heavier than they should. The suitcases trail behind him, bumping softly against his legs, close enough to remind him they're there. At a crosswalk, the light turns green. People surge forward. Donkey brain hesitates for half a second too long, then follows, slightly offbeat like he missed an invisible cue. When your mind is carrying unresolved emotions, it reallocates energy. Less goes to focus, decision-making, and movement. More goes to containment. Donkey brain reaches a staircase leading up to the street level. Halfway up, his breathing changes. He stops, pretends to check his phone, adjusts a strap that no one else can see. A digital billboard flickers above him. Just stay positive. Donkey brain snorts softly through his nose. Not amused, not offended, just tired. Inside a cafe, ordering coffee feels strangely difficult. The menu seems longer than yesterday. Too many options. Too many people standing too close. Someone behind him clears their throat. A new bag snaps into place. Pressure. Donkey brain's ears droop slightly. This explains more than he'd like to admit. Why small decisions drain him. Why conversations feel heavier than they should. Why he avoids starting things that actually matter. His phone vibrates. A message he's been avoiding. Another bag appears, light in appearance, heavy in effect. Avoidance. The brain prefers manageable discomfort over uncertain change. Small, familiar stress feels safer than big, meaningful action. Donkey brain takes his coffee and steps outside. His hands are full. Not just physically, mentally, and the day has barely started. By the afternoon, Donkey brain notices something unsettling. The bags haven't multiplied dramatically. They've multiplied quietly. Nothing announced their arrival. Nothing asked permission. They simply appeared in the spaces created by avoidance. He skips lunch to stay productive. A medium-sized case clicks into place. Burnout. He tells himself he shouldn't feel sad. That other people have it worse. That this feeling is unnecessary. Another bag tightens its strap. Invalidation. He scrolls through his phone instead of resting. Just 5 minutes. Just a distraction. A fog-like satchel settles across his shoulders. Numbness. This is the trick of emotional suppression. What you ignore doesn't vanish. It waits. And while it waits, it drains. Donkey brain walks across a narrow bridge overlooking the city. Traffic hums below. The skyline stretches ahead. Halfway across, his legs give out. Not dramatically, just honestly. He sits down, breath uneven, surrounded by suitcases stacked like a quiet accusation. Grief hums softly, not angry, just present. Shame presses against his chest, familiar and heavy. Expectations lean close, whispering urgency without direction. For the first time, Donkey Brain doesn't try to stand. He doesn't distract himself. He doesn't joke. He doesn't push. He just sits. The bags stop pulling. They don't disappear. They wait. Emotions don't want control. They want acknowledgement. The moment you stop fighting them, they stop fighting back. Donkey Brain reaches out slowly, not to throw a suitcase away, just to touch one. Grief. It doesn't explode. It doesn't overwhelm him. It softens, just a little. Enough to remind him that weight doesn't mean danger. Sometimes it just means something mattered. The city continues around him, but for a moment Donkey Brain is still. And for the first time today, the weight isn't increasing. Donkey Brain sits with the suitcases longer than he planned. At first he only meant to rest, just enough to breathe, just enough to regain balance. But something feels different now. The bags aren't pulling anymore. They're waiting. Slowly, cautiously, Donkey Brain reaches for the nearest suitcase, tagged grief. His hand hesitates on the latch. Processing emotion doesn't mean drowning in it. It means allowing it to move so it doesn't harden into weight. Donkey Brain opens the case. Nothing explodes. No dramatic collapse. No cinematic storm. Inside are memories, ordinary ones, laughter, quiet moments, the shape of something that once mattered deeply. His chest tightens, then loosens. He breathes. The suitcase feels lighter. Next is shame. This one is heavier than it looks. Inside are frozen moments, mistakes paused at their worst angles, scenes stripped of context, growth edited out. Donkey Brain tilts his head. He looks again. That wasn't failure. That was learning mid-process. The weight eases. When the brain revisits emotional memories with safety, it updates the meaning. The threat response calms. Energy returns. Then there's expectations. Polished, impressive, loud. Inside are voices that aren't his. Deadlines he never agreed to. Timelines borrowed without consent. Donkey Brain doesn't unpack this one fully. He simply sets it down. That alone changes things. Not every emotional bag needs to be solved. Some just need to stop being carried. One by one the suitcases shift. They don't vanish, but they become manageable. Donkey Brain stands. His posture is different now. Straighter, softer, less defensive, still tired, but no longer buried. And for the first time the weight feels honest. Evening settles over the city like a slow exhale. Streetlights flicker on. The noise softens. The day loosens its grip. Donkey Brain walks again. Not faster, just easier. The suitcases are still there. A few roll behind him. One hangs at his side. Another rests lightly on his back. But none of them are dragging him anymore. They move with him now. Mental heaviness isn't weakness. It's strength that's been carrying things alone for too long. Donkey Brain passes people heading home. Some laugh. Some stare at their phones. Some look just as tired as he felt this morning. He recognizes it now. The posture, the slowness, the invisible weight. At a crosswalk the light turns red. Donkey Brain stops. Not out of exhaustion but choice. He adjusts a strap on one of the bags. Not to tighten it, to make it sit more comfortably. This is the part no one talks about. Processing emotions doesn't erase them. Healing doesn't mean traveling light forever. It means carrying the right things consciously. When emotions are acknowledged, they stop hijacking behavior. The brain conserves energy when it understands what it's holding. Donkey Brain steps forward when the light turns green. His movement is steady, grounded, present. He still gets tired. But now, when he rests, it actually helps. He still thinks. But now, his thoughts don't feel like they're fighting each other for space. At the edge of the street, he pauses, looks ahead. Not everything is solved, but something is lighter. And for the first time in a long while, Donkey Brain has enough energy left to choose where he's going, instead of just surviving the walk.